Hello, Oceania. I'm Sandy, and I'm back with another wonderful Caribbean coat of arms. This time we're going to look at one that's very unusual. This is the emblem for the British Virgin Islands. And the reason why it's so unusual is because it's one single image. What we see here is a woman dressed in Roman garb. She's holding a lamp, but she also has surrounding her 11 other lamps. This image is Saint Ursula, and I'm going to tell you the story here. We have to step back in time to Christopher Columbus's second New World voyage in 1493. He was coming back and on a madcap rush to get to the island we know now as Hispaniola, basically where Haiti is now, where he had left something like 40 or 45 of his crewmen the year before due to a shipwreck. He was going back to rescue them, so he did not have time to stop and explore this particular archipelago of beautiful islands. As he sailed through these islands, one island was more beautiful than the one he just passed. And all that came to mind was the image of beautiful maidens slumbering serenely on their beautiful blue waterbed. Well, this brought to mind Saint Ursula and her 11,000 virginal handmaidens, which begs the question just how long he had been at sea. But he named the entire group of them Saint Ursula and her 11,000 virgins, which came to be known eventually as the Virgin Islands. So who is Saint Ursula? Well, Saint Ursula was a medieval princess. She was a Christian, and she hailed from Cornwall. Her father had promised her in marriage to a prince from present-day France, that would have been Gaul back then, Brittany to be specific, and he was a pagan. Now, as the wedding day approached, she had a dream, and in this dream was a vision of an angel that came and talked to her. And the angel said, put a stay on this marriage. Give yourself 3 years, because what you need to do is go around and collect thousands of supporters for yourself as you embark on a new life in basically a new land. So she was able to ascertain that 3-year stay with her father, and her intended agreed to it, during which time she went around and collected her 11,000 handmaidens, which turned out to be probably her 11,000 bridesmaids as well. And when it came time for her to finally go and marry the prince, they got in their ships or their little boats, and they started going across the channel. Well, there was a miraculous storm that took them overnight to Gaul. And she took this as another sign that, oh, it was time to go and explore Europe. So here she was with 11,000 handmaidens, instead of getting married, taking them on a tour, an impromptu tour around Europe. First stop was Rome. Now she met with a pope who was entertaining the Bishop of Ravenna at the time, and she managed to persuade them to join her and her 11,000 handmaidens on this trip around Europe. And that is how the entourage went until they came to Cologne. Here, the city had been sacked by the Huns. And this is where she rallied her 11,000 handmaidens and turned them into warriors. She said, we're not going to take them sitting down. We are Christians. We are going to fight them. And fight them they did, but not with a good outcome, because all of the 11,000 handmaidens ended up being massacred and slaughtered right there on the banks of the Rhine River. What happened to Saint Ursula? Well, she was coerced into agreeing to marry the chief of the Huns, but she rebuffed that, rejected that, and for that, she was martyred with an arrow through the heart. Now, today at Cologne, there is a basilica that was built to her memory. And it's known for a huge reliquary, this display of very artistically, if you will, assembled bones that apparently they found in earlier graveyards and cemeteries. Some people say it has something to do with her 11,000 handmaidens. Others say, who will ever know? But at any rate, that is something that directly connects Germany, by the way, with the British Virgin Islands, another one of those kind of surprising connections that you find in this part of the world. So what is the legacy of Saint Ursula? Well, you will find her image on the territorial flag, for one thing. You will also find her image throughout the islands, not only on public places, but also where the tourists come on tourist signs as well. And they still hold every October a St. Ursula's feast day in her honor. This is to commemorate the traditional day of her death, which was October 21st, 383 AD. But probably most important of all is the fact that she was the patron saint for educating girls. And education for both boys and girls is very, very important to the people of the British Virgin Islands. As you can see, all the kids show up and in uniforms that are beautifully washed and pressed for school every day. Now, we love the British Virgin Islands. I don't like to disclose some of my favorite places, but I will handily admit that when someone says the British Virgin Islands, my heart skips a beat. Beautiful beaches, places like Tortola, Virgin Gorda, Jost Van Dyke, Anegada. They're just absolutely the most beautiful examples of some of the tropics in the Caribbean. And water, I don't think it can be paralleled anywhere else. But in addition to that, the place is steeped with all kinds of wonderful and intriguing little corners and nooks and crannies of history that involve things like pirate attacks and treasure hunts and desperate castaways. With more than 50 islands, most of which are uninhabited, the BVI is full of islands with great, whimsical, mysterious, and intriguing names like Dead Chest Island, Seal Dogs, Prickly Pear, Ginger, Guana, Necker Islands, Beef Islands, and even Sandy Key. But next time you go to the British Virgin Islands, remember that it was beautiful Saint Ursula that inspired the name for all the Virgin Islands, going back to 1493, when Christopher Columbus saw an archipelago that he could not give a better name to than the Virgins. With that, I'm going to sign off and hope that you'll join me next time when we get together again to explore one more of our beautiful Caribbean coats of arms. Until then, I'm Sandy signing off.